Joan of Arc is one of the most fascinating figures in history. Born in 1412 in Domremy, France, she was a peasant girl who claimed to have been chosen by God to lead the French army to victory against the English during the 100 Years' War. Her story is one of courage, devotion, and tragedy, and has inspired countless works of art and literature over the centuries. But who was Joan of Arc, really? Was she a saint, a martyr, or a madwoman? The answer to that question is not as straightforward as one might think. At the age of 13, Joan began to hear voices that she believed were coming from God, telling her to drive the English out of France and help the Dauphin, Charles VII, become king. At the time, France was in the midst of a brutal war with England, and the English had gained control of many of France's territories. Joan's visions and voices eventually led her to seek an audience with Charles VII, who was skeptical of her claims at first, but eventually gave her a chance to prove herself. In 1429, Joan led the French army to several key victories, including the Battle of Orleans, which lifted the siege of the city and helped turn the tide of the war in favor of the French. However, Joan's success was short-lived. In 1430, she was captured by the English and handed over to the church, who put her on trial for heresy. Joan was accused of dressing in men's clothing, which was seen as a violation of biblical law, and of claiming to receive divine revelations, which was considered a threat to the authority of the church. Joan's trial was a farce, with the church using underhanded tactics to convict her. Joan was found guilty and burned at the stake in 1431, at the age of 19. For centuries, Joan was viewed as a saint and a martyr, a symbol of French nationalism and religious devotion. However, in recent years, some historians have questioned the traditional narrative of Joan's life and death. Some have suggested that Joan may have suffered from mental illness, such as schizophrenia, which could explain her visions and voices. Others have pointed out that Joan's trial was a political and legal maneuver, aimed at undermining the power of the French king and strengthening the authority of the church. Still, others have argued that Joan was a victim of gender discrimination and persecution, punished for daring to challenge the male-dominated power structures of her time. Despite the debates surrounding her life and legacy, there is no denying the impact that Joan of Arc has had on history and popular culture. Her story has been retold countless times in books, plays, movies, and songs, and her bravery and devotion continue to inspire people around the world. In conclusion, whether Joan of Arc was a saint, a martyr, or a madwoman is a question that may never be fully answered. What is clear, however, is that her story is one of courage, perseverance, and tragedy, and it has left a lasting impression on the world.